Let's talk about carbon emissions. How do we measure carbon? And what are Scope 1, 2 and 3 emissions? Understanding the environmental impact of your business begins with an accurate measurement of your carbon emission footprint. This is simply a calculation of the greenhouse gases a company emits through its activities over a defined period of time. Greenhouse gas emissions are often measured in CO2 equivalents, and the Kyoto Protocol covers 6 categories of greenhouse gas GHG emissions. This greenhouse gas protocol sets out the international standard which defines how a business's total emissions are subdivided into 3 categories, known as Scope 1, Scope 2 and Scope 3. What do these categories mean? First, let's focus on Scope 1. Direct GHG emissions occur from sources that are owned or controlled by a company. For example, emissions from on-site combustion from owned or controlled boilers, furnaces, or vehicles. Further examples include emissions from chemical production in owned or controlled process equipment. If the company pays the fuel bill directly or owns the asset, it will have Scope 1 emissions. Scope 2 accounts for GHG emissions from the generation of purchased electricity, steam, heating or cooling, which are consumed by the company. These are considered indirect because while the company consumes the energy, the Scope 2 emissions physically occur off-site at facilities where electricity is generated, so they are not directly controlled by the company. Scope 3 includes the remaining indirect emissions that occur in the value chain. They are a consequence of the activities of the company, but occur from sources not owned or controlled by the company. Scope 3 emissions fall into either upstream or downstream emissions types. For reporting purposes, under the guidance of the GHG protocol, Scope 3 consists of 15 categories. Examples of activities that fall into these categories include the extraction and production of purchased raw materials, transportation of purchased fuels, and use of sold products and services. Scope 3 is the largest contributor towards total greenhouse gas emissions, often accounting for up to 80% of total company emissions. Reporting of Scope 3 emissions provides the opportunity for companies in key industries to multiply their carbon reduction impact by decarbonising their supply chains. Digital solutions can provide integrated software modules that support the accurate calculation of Scope 1, 2 and 3 greenhouse gas emissions, and the recording, tracking and decision making to progress towards decarbonisation goals. At O9, we believe that not all first steps are small. Let's walk this journey together.